What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about, was Vanguard Zombies worth it? Now, yes, I know. Obvious answer is, what do you mean, man? Trick Zombies is trash. Horrible maps, horrible game, should have never been made, worst game of all time. That's the obvious answer. But I really want to break this question down, because I think it's honestly, it's pretty deep. So, Vanguard released with 4 maps, 2 round-based, 2 objective-based. I'm sure you all know that. And I think the community's reception of between like 95% of the people is that it was all trash and it should have never been made. But I think that Duran Fong, when they first had the idea of it, it's supposed to be like just a smaller form of Outbreak. It was just an idea for them to test, Trick was thrown onto this game by Sledgehammer. They had to make it. So, because Vanguard didn't have like a third mode, so they had to make it. So, you know what? Why not try something new? Why not release, instead of releasing a poorly received round-based map, because that's what Duran Fong would have been, just a poorly received round-based map, why don't we try something new? And that's exactly what Vanguard Zombies did. They tried something new. Now, this did not work out because the gameplay was trash and there was really a lack of features like a wonder weapon, pap camo, everything. Like servers not allowing you to pause, you guys know the drill. And the community was in an outcry. No one liked the game. Zombies was completely dead. And then they released Terra Maledicta, and it's pretty much the same thing. Even less people probably played it. Exact same thing. Little to no quest. No support for the game. And they were adding things over time, like the ray gun and pap camos and stuff like that. But it was already too late. The game was pretty much dead. No one was playing it. Now, then they released Shinonuma, and Shinonuma, I'd say, was like a spark for the game. It was like something just something to talk about. Same with this map as well, the Archon. They released this map. It was just something to talk about. But, it wasn't really much. It was just something. At least there was something there for us to talk about. And I think that's what Vanguard Zombies is kind of like all encapsulated as. Is, if it wasn't here, then we would have just been in a gap for 3 years between Cold War and COD 2024, but instead we have this game to talk about the 4 maps, and that's pretty much something we can do. The community can unite against the fact that this game had a lot of issues, and that was kind of all this game was for. It was just for the community to talk about the game's issues. Now, the story was okay in this game, but the problem with it is that it didn't really explain anything like I think all of us wanted it to. So originally the story for this game was marketed as if it was going to explain the Project End Station stuff, give us a bit of that background information about, Dr. Strauss and Dr. Vogel, all that stuff that happened at D Machine. Originally, I thought it was going to tie into that. I think everyone did because they showed us that little teaser for it. But it ended up not really having anything to do with that. It really just ended up talking about magic. Now, I'm kind of angry about this because, I really like zombies. Not to dive into like this sort of demon occult stuff. I like it when it was, diving into Project End Station and not all like this random occult stuff that doesn't really have anything to do with the Cold War zombie story. Like I like zombies. I think zombies is at its best when it's, scientific sci-fi stuff. Like for example, World at War and BO1. It was more sci-fi and less of like, BO3 apothecary shit because you're less immersed into it. Like it's just way less immersive, when you're flying around on Revelations and there's a giant apothecary being, walking around. It's way less immersive than if you're in like, D Machine inside of an abandoned Nazi facility and there's zombies coming out of nowhere. It feels a lot more grounded. It feels like, you can at least put yourself into the world. You may not be like, obviously it's not realistic, but you can maybe like, you can feel a lot more like in part of the world because it's like, if there really was zombies, this is exactly how it would play out. You'd go to this abandoned facility, they would be everywhere. What can we discover about the storyline? We need to find out, this password and stuff like that. Like it's very logical in all the steps, where in Revelations you're shooting rocks and stuff like that. Like it's not logical, the stuff that you're doing in the maps. Like the storyline was okay. Like it was just followed our characters. Basically Von List was captured by Cortifex, and then basically we just try to kill Cortifex and kill Von List, but it ends up Cortifex betrays Von List and we end up killing Von List anyway, and then the demons basically kill Cortifex, and that's it, which I did hate about the Archon. There was no ending cutscene, so there's no real closure to the storyline, like What happens to Gabriel Kraft? Why isn't he in Cold War Zombies? Will he be explained in the future? You know, Von List died, which kind of made me sad, but like there's no repercussions for anything that happened here. None of it is explained in Cold War. If anything, it leaves us with more unanswered questions, which kind of pisses me off. So as you guys may know, Treyarch is currently working on Cold War Year 2, as well as they're also working on their next game for 2024. So they're releasing maps, weapons, and modes for Cold War, and then they're also obviously working on their next game. So I have 3 teams working right now, one on Vanguard Zombies, one on Cold War, and then one on their next game. Now, if Vanguard Zombies didn't exist, theoretically, then I'm assuming that the people who are making Vanguard would either be working on Cold War Year 2, or they would be working on their next game. So when you ask the question, was Vanguard Zombies worth it? If that means that we would have gotten more content for COD 2024, or more content for Cold War Year 2, like new maps, like maybe like new Outbreak maps, new Outbreak modes, stuff like that. If that stuff was at the cost of creating Vanguard, I would say absolutely not. Vanguard is not worth it, because they could have just spent that dev time making their next game even better than it already is going to be. Like, the game is going to be so good, but it could have just been even better, you know? They could add a little bit of extra stuff just to make it even better. And same with Cold War, they could have added like some new stuff to Cold War. I think I would have absolutely rathered that than Vanguard Zombies. However, if that stuff was, if Activision already had a set plan for Cold War and their next game, and they're not going to add anything else, and Vanguard Zombies was just an extra thing that they were working on, I would say absolutely Vanguard Zombies was worth it. Not just because, you know, the obvious that obviously it's more content, but like, this game really allowed Treyarch to sort of give us a beta test for what Vanguard Zombies is going to be like. Or not Vanguard, COD 2024. So as you guys may know, they basically released in their blog post that they were working on the pause button feature, the ray gun, like all the stuff they needed to rebuild from the ground up for the new engine. They basically did in this game. So in a weird way, this is almost like a beta test for what the next game is going to be like. And I'm all for that. And as well, also, it's just new Zombies map. It's just something to do while we're waiting for the next game. Because if not, we would have been in a drought for 3 years between Cold War and COD 2024. So at least Vanguard is just maps to play. You know, it's something to talk about, like just something to theorize about, the storyline, stuff like that. At least it's something, you know. And it may not be a final product that we were all hoping it to be, but at least it's something that we can talk about, something to, you know, turn back to, and it's something that really united the community. For, you know, representing something that, you know, we do not really want. At least we can all agree that Vanguard Zombies is something that we do not all want. So at least we have that. So in my conclusion, was Vanguard Zombies worth it? I would say yes, it was. Now, you know, a lot of people say, you know, it's horrible, stuff like that, but it really allowed the community to rally behind something and really gave us sort of a send-off to Zombies for the next 2 years. And I think that, you know, whether or not Cold War got new content because of this game, I think that, you know, either way, 4 new maps, you know, a new mode that Treyarch was allowed to test with, you know, the new Outbreak objective style mode with this game, I think that really allowed Treyarch to sort of expand on that idea. They probably wanted to try it out. That allowed Treyarch to try it out. So honestly, I'm happy with that they were at least happy to try out something that they wanted to try out, because these devs obviously are looking to our best interests. So I'm really happy with that. And the only thing I'm sad about is that maybe they're going to turn away from the Outbreak style modes just because of how poorly it was received for this game, which I am sad about, because I do enjoy Outbreak and I really hope they bring it back for their next game. Just wasn't received well with this game, but yeah, that's about it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.